In the past, it was thought impossible to kill Alduin without Dragonrend, but we thought wrong. How many shouts do you need to finish Skyrim? 7? 5? How about 0? 0 shouts learned. Although that's just what the stats say. In reality, we have to learn 4 and use 3 to advance the questline. But by the power of load warping, we can maintain our immaculate stat screen and beat Skyrim without being the Dragonborn. Wait, this is Special Edition. In this setup, you don't go to Bleak Falls Barrow, you don't learn Unrelenting Force, and you don't go to Ustengrave or Kynes Grove. This means that after Helgen, we continue the main quest by clipping into the Thalmor Embassy. Reading Esbern's dossier will start diplomatic immunity, and we can go to Delphine and Riverwood to begin a cornered rat. If she's stuck downstairs, you can give a lockpick to your follower and push them into the cabinet. Get Esbern back to Riverwood, then go to Skyhaven Temple where they'll tell you you need a shout to defeat Alduin. Even though they're wrong, you do need to meet Parthenax to advance the questline. For him to spawn, you'll have to learn the first word of power for Clear Skies from the Greybeards. But before that, we should set up for the fight with Alduin. Let's talk about what makes Alduin unkillable. You probably already know that Alduin can't be damaged until you use Dragonrend on him. This is because Alduin has a unique ability that makes him invulnerable when he's allowed to fly. Generally, the only things that disable a dragon's ability to fly are Dragonrend, their injured animation, which plays when they reach 35% health, or if their health is 0. This may seem impossible since we can't damage Alduin until we damage him. But there's another way to trigger his injured animation: Fortify health. If you fortify a dragon's health, their injured animation will play when the effect expires. Except it's not that simple, because we need to get his health to about 2 to the 36th power. Potions have their strength capped at 2 to the 31st, and Alduin is immune to the negative effects of poisons, so weakness to poison isn't going to help us. We can get around this by using Courage, which fortifies the target's health by 25 points. Dragons are supposed to be immune to illusion spells, and casting Courage on a dragon will notify you that they resisted it. But that only applies to the confidence buff. The health and stamina fortifications work fine. How do you do it then? First, perform an alchemy loop to get your potions in the 100,000 range. If you drink 2 weakness to poison potions, their effects will stack multiplicatively. You can then have an NPC attack you with a poison that contains a Fortify illusion effect. Sadly, there is no way to make a Fortify illusion poison in the base game, but if you have the Rare Curios creation, it becomes a possibility. However, since it comes with a lingering damage health effect, the poison is essentially a liquid heart attack. To overpower this effect, you need to drink 3 weakness to poison potions, then have an NPC attack you with a Fortify restoration poison. Now equipping any Fortify health enchantment will be sufficient to keep you alive for your buff. You'll also need a potion with the Ravage health effect, a frenzy poison, 3 paralysis poisons, a follower, and a sword of orcish quality or better. Once you have everything you need, save the game and keep note of which save it is. Now you can go learn Clear Skies, talk at Parthenax, and bring the Elder Scroll back to the Throat of the World. Poison your follower's weapon with Fortify Illusion and give it back to them. Then read the Elder Scroll. Once the cutscene ends, drink 2 weakness to poison potions, then attack your follower. Let them hit you with the poison, and cast Courage twice on Alduin while he's hovering. He'll become hostile and his health buff won't clear for 60 seconds, but any damage you deal will persist once the buff wears off. So it turns out you actually have to use Dragonrend to advance the quest, but it works fine if you use it after he goes into Bleed Out. After that, it's time for the Peace Council so you can learn Odahving's name and call him to the Great Porch. You could use Courage on him, or you can beat him normally. Go through Skuldafn until you reach the portal and kill all nearby enemies. Then restore your health by waiting, make a save, and head into Sovngarde. Beat Soon using your preferred method, and make your way to the Hall of Valor, but don't go through the doors just yet. Remember that Ravage health potion you made? It's used for a bug called deadloading. The potion's strength is so high that if you drank it without having the Fortify health effect from your armor, you would die. But since your armor is keeping you alive, you have the ability to deadload. Drink the potion, look at the door, and reload the save from after you completed your prep. During the loading screen, mash the activate button until you hear the door open. What you just performed is called a deadload warp. You activated the door with the character from the save you were loading, meaning you're now in Sovngarde without having any shouts. Rally up with the Sovngarde heroes, and make another save once the Dragonslayer quest begins. Since you haven't beaten Sun in this save, the outside of the hall has a death plane in front of it, so you'll have to get out with a different type of load warp. First, load the save at the top of Skuldafn. Inch toward the center of the portal, quick saving with each step. After you hit the loading screen, reload your quick save. Open the pause menu and make sure the system tab is selected. Now your goal is to walk forward and open the pause menu on the same frame you enter the load trigger. If done correctly, your screen will fade out to black, but there will be no loading screen. You're actually in the pause menu at this point. Select Quit, then Main Menu. Finally, load the save inside the Hall of Valor, and you'll be load warped to Sovngarde's start. This has the additional effect of completing the World Eater's Eyrie, which spawns Alduin. This eliminates the need for clear skies. Approach the bridge to spawn the heroes and wait for them to arrive. Paralyze Hakon and Feldir with your poisons. Then apply the illusion poison to the orcish sword and reverse pickpocket it onto Gormlaith. Drink your potions and attack her with the frenzy poison. If Alduin notices Gormlaith, he'll become hostile towards her and come closer to attack her. If her frenzy wears off and she still hasn't hit you, attack her until she becomes hostile again. Once Gormlaith applies the illusion buff, spam courage at Alduin. You have 60 seconds to land a hit on Alduin once you're poisoned. When you do hit him, you'll have to sit around until it wears off. You can use this time to paralyze Gormlaith as well. You can finish him in whatever way you want, but I've always wanted to kill him with a sneak attack. While you may have completed the final quest with no shouts known, the last step is to load warp out of Sovngarde. That's because Sun teaches you Call of Valor when he sends you back to Skyrim. So there you have it. You don't need to be born special to save the world. You just need to get really buff and really high. That's all for now. Thank you.